Hello, welcome to Effortless Being channel, where it takes no effort just to be. How you doing? How are you? I can't hear
Um,
you. There you go. Now I can hear you. How you
um,
been?
I'm good. Everything's great. And I'm so happy to be here with you.
Me too. I'm happy to have you. I know I had you on before and getting a lot of good responses. People really resonate with your energy and the way that you explain, about the thoughts and how the thoughts are coming and being able to speak from your true nature. And they really felt like the love coming through. And I thought that's what we talk about today is maybe talk about love. What do you think?
Yes, love is everything. And it's a pretty interesting topic to touch because sometimes we misunderstand what love truly is. You know, we have heard in spiritual speakers that love is the fragrance. And yes, the feeling of love is just the fragrance because love is so much more than just a feeling. Love is like an attitude of being open, of being confident in itself because love is confident in itself. It knows what it is. And love is happiness. Love is expansive and expanding at the same time, both. So yeah,
That's great
um,
description of love. So there's different kind of loves out there, right? There's like unconditional love. There's self-sacrificing love, some might say. Some might say there's romantic love. How would you say something about that?
I don't think that love is as sacrificing because love doesn't ask for a sacrifice.
Mhm.
In truth, is that love doesn't ask for anything.
Mm.
Um, true love, true love is unconditional and it's I love you because of who you are, no matter what you are doing, no matter what you are saying, because I love, you know, and making a sacrifice to get something is a transaction, and love isn't as a transaction. We're so used from the ego point of view to see love as a transaction. I love you as long as you love me. I love you as long as you approve of me. I love you as long as you like me. And love isn't, um, I'm gonna win you over. Love isn't, I'm going to try to get something from you. And that's something maybe attention, love, approval, um, company, or whatever. That's not love. To love someone is I love you, and from the freedom that I am, I love you freely so that you can be what you are. And it doesn't matter if the other person is attached to patterns and to conditioning or whatever. I love you because you are you. I love you because you exist and you are here. And I'm happy to share this moment with you. You know, that's like true love. And it does exist because it is you.
Yeah, when I think of love, it's kind of starts with yourself, like the self loves. It's loving yourself. And when you love yourself, and the way that you love yourself is knowing what you are, your true nature is love. You are love. You're love itself. And love creates unity, unity consciousness. Love. love brings it into one. There's not two, there's one consciousness taking different forms. It's all happening into the field, the unity consciousness, everything's in this is inside you, which is pure love. And when you love yourself, it flows into the manifestation, into the world, and everything becomes one. It's like a oneness, a true love. Say something about that.
Yes, love unites, love brings together, but loving yourself isn't just loving this body, this hair, these eyes, mm, the qualities that seem to appear in here. Loving myself is loving you and loving the world because I am one with it. And loving the plants and loving the neighbors and loving everything because it's one. There's no separation, there's no division, there's no I am here and you are there. It seems that way, but it isn't. We are one. And it can be very difficult for the mind to get it, but think of it as when you love something, when you love a pet, when you are loving your friends, you feel very close to them. And that is unity consciousness. At that moment, even if it's just an instant, when with your partner, with your family, when you are being loving, you feel close, really, really close and really intimate, you know? And that is love.
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about having love with your animal, your dog. Like I have a dog. Her name is Lizzie, and she just has unconditional love for everyone in the family. She'll just stare at you and she'll come up, lick your face, she'll wag its tail, and no matter what's happening, I mean, somebody could be yelling at the dog and it would just be there, happy and joyful, like, and
Yeah.
it's such a great example of love, like that love that the animal has for you is unconditional. It loves you. It accepts you just how you are. It just the way you are right now, not asking anything to be different. The dog just looks at me and just loves me just how I am, no matter what's going on. It's all allowing. It just loves unconditionally. You,
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
but we can also be like that, you know? It is the thought, judgment, criticism that isn't a loving thing. But if we say yes to this moment, if we say yes to wherever is arising, and I'm saying feelings, even if fear is here, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to be lovingly aware of it. Um, without trying to change it, without trying to control it, without, oh my God, it's hard. It's heavy, help. That may arise, but notice it's the mind talking, not you. So lo to love so purely, so innocently, so profoundly and deeply is to embrace those parts of us. At first, it looks like I'm going to embrace myself and I'm going to hold a space for that part of me. And then it looks like, oh, I can do it for someone else. And I can allow someone else to make, a mistake or something. And I'm okay. because part of a loving attitude is to say yes. Not like the Jimmy Carrey movie where he's saying yes to whatever. No, love doesn't say yes to whatever. It says yes to this moment. It says yes to the experience, and it doesn't hold on to anything. And it's a yes as an opposite of resistance, of escaping, running away, um, wanting to be separate. I don't want that. That's too bad. You know,
Yeah.
love is exactly the opposite. Um, it's saying yes to contribute and build and create and give and explore and, to feel more alive and happy instead of saying yes to destroying, saying yes to, oh, you hurt me and I'm gonna hurt you.
Mm.
You know, it's like so opposite energy.
Say something
Um,
about with love, like loving yourself. If you really love yourself and you want to love other people, the importance of boundaries.
oh, yes. Love says no. Love knows when to say no. But that no, that boundary, first isn't to control the other person. A boundary isn't about me trying to make you do something I want, because that isn't love. So how does that look? Like it, in a partnership, something like, if you want me to be with you, you have to be more romantic and more loving, and you have to call me every day, and I have to wake up to a loving message from you, because if not, I'm gone. That's manipulation. That's not a boundary. A boundary is, you know what? I'm not going to agree that you are a limited being.
Hmm.
And a boundary is about what I'm going to do if whatever happens. But it's not like a thing that goes on in the head and, you know what? I have to protect myself when this happens, because that's not loving. That's just feeding the mind. What is loving is that if something happens, like right now, you can say no. Like at the start of this conversation, Rob said, you know what? I'm going to press record. And I said, no, give me a moment.
Perfect
And
example.
that's loving. That's loving. Just give me a moment. And it's loving for both parties, you know? Um, we sometimes are afraid of love because it's innocent and it's pure and
Mhm.
it's trusting, trusting in people, trusting in oneself, in our shared light, in values, in talents,
Okay.
and we are told that we don't have to be stupid, that we have to see the red flags and we have to, you know, to be aware so that you can prepare yourself if something goes south. And that is loving, not for you, not for the other, because you are not seeing. you're not really trusting and you're not seeing the light in the other person. So love isn't stupid. Love isn't blind. It isn't. It sees the truth in yourself and in others. But love is not to be confused to allow negligence and mistreatment or people walking over me. That's
Ooh,
not
that's
loving.
a big one. Yeah.
That's not loving for you. That's not loving for the other person.
There's a lot of people who are watching this channel that they help people, right? They might be helping them realize their true nature, or they spend time helping people. And a lot of times they feel, what would you say to someone who feels like they want to do everything for free, but then they ended up getting burnt out, and they're not able to help people because they're just doing it all for free and they're afraid to charge something or something like this. How would you speak to that as far as love?
I would say first, why wouldn't you charge? Like, first of all, why wouldn't you charge? Because you have an idea that you have to be quote unquote a saint or whatever that means, and maybe it comes from a false humility. I- Is the word in English? It came in Spanish. Um, in which I'm going to help, and it seems that you are giving, but you're not truly loving because you're not loving yourself first.
Right.
You're not doing it from a place of true love because first you are seeing the other person as sick, hurting, as not complete because they need your help. So you're putting yourself first, and that's ego. You're putting yourself first above them. You need my help, and that's not loving from either part. And because I have this or that experience, insights, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to bring you here. And that's not loving. Loving is I see, I see who you truly are, and I love you as you are. You may be hurting. Yes, I can acknowledge that you are hurting right now, but I'm embracing you. I'm coming to the place where you are, and I embrace you. And I love you as you are right now. And you know what? You are complete. You are whole. And if this other this other body mind isn't ready to hear that, just by embracing, just by holding the space for that person, they can realize and go through whatever they are going through so that they see themselves as complete and perfect and beautiful as they are and letting go and all these process and things. But if you start with you are sick, you are not healed, and you need me, and see how great and free I'm I am that I'm going to give it to you for free, you know, it doesn't sit well in here. So if
Right.
there's someone mm, wanting to help, It's nice, yes, please, but before, be aware of where you're coming from and what you're giving. And the time, because the time you're giving to the person in a session, in a coaching, in wherever you want to call it, that time is isn't coming back. We all know that time doesn't really exist. Yes, that's true. But it's also true that this instant, this moment, it just flew. This is another moment, you know? Yes, it's eternal now, but I can't grasp nor grasp, no go back to have that time. And when you're truly living, you come from a place of true love. When you're giving because you expect the unhealed person, very quote unquote, and that's not the word, but when you expect the unhealed person to be grateful or to approve of you and your process, of your health, your perceived health, then you are not really in alignment. And first and foremost, be in alignment with yourself. And that means that you value your time,
Yes.
you value your presence, you value who you are. And because you value and see your worth, you're gonna charge.
Love that. That's
Like that's
perfectly
it.
said. Yeah. Yeah, that's perfectly said. A lot of people, their presence alone is so valuable. I don't think people realize their presence with someone is worth a lot, is worth a lot. And so charging is fine with that. Plus, it allows you to be able to continue to serve when you do that.
Yes.
And it gives the other person an opportunity, to contribute. Because, like you said, we're all equal. It's not that one's better than the other and that I have something that you don't. We're all the infinite being. And so when I look at you, I see the infinite being. I see love. I see myself. That's why what I love about unity consciousness is I see everything as the infinite being. So I could never harm anything else because I see it all that way. I feel that. I feel the beingness in you. I feel the beingness in this space of consciousness. It's all this one beingness, you know, that's doing.
Yes. And mm, it's so important to talk about kind of ethics, uh, because, like you said, I'm not going to hurt, and that's love. I'm not going to agree to get into something that hurts people,
Hmm?
that hurts the one that is in front of me. Love says no, and it's clear, and it's peaceful, and it's calm. It's not coming from a place of I need to demonstrate something, or I need to control, or anger, frustration. It's not coming from that place that no, but at the same time, you are so aware that by disapproving of something, by judging something or someone, you are hurting yourself. When you try to hurt someone, you are hurting yourself at the same time. It's non-negotiable. It's what's happening. And it's what's going to happen because that energy of I'm going to hurt and it's going to come back. And it's going to come back in a way that seems to be hurting you so much. But then you are not going to be aware of it. You're going to blame that other person, and love is about breaking that pattern. See, to see what you are doing, to be aware of it, and to keep choosing love, because when you're identified with the mind, with the ego, you are not free. And from this place, you know, love can understand that the other person may be attached to an idea, maybe, but I'm not agreeing with that. But I'm not going to pressure someone, for example, to pay attention to this message or to follow whatever non-duality is, or to, because that's not loving. I wanted to say something and it just went.
That's okay. That's okay. What I was thinking about what you said earlier about the experiencing it as a subject object mode, that's where separation is. It's almost like with our true nature, it's oneness, it's unity consciousness, where everything's arising in effortless being, where everything's, the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings, like all of that is coming up in this permanent space of loving beingness in the field. And previous to that, you mentioned that, a lot of people view it like I'm here and the world's out there, so they feel separate. And so then they feel like they have to defend themselves or they feel fearful. I mean, love and fear don't go good together. They don't match. Can you say
They are
something?
opposites.
Yeah. So can you say something about maybe there's people watching that are like, well, you know what? I'm in that subject object mode. I want to be in that oneness, that unity consciousness. I want to be in love. I want to be in love with myself and view everything as myself. What can you say about somebody who's maybe stuck in that subject object mode and they're experiencing, we honor that they are experiencing life that way.
Um, my heart is with you. Um, be kind to yourself first. You know, try to catch the moment where you feel separate and see that that separation comes from disapproving of something that's happening. I don't like this. This is bad. Um, Even if it's not literally uh, the words that are coming, it may be just the sensation. It may be just an us, it, whatever is arising, and it's like, I don't like this, or I need to protect myself from that, and this is dangerous. Oh my God, this is dangerous. I have to get away. Be brave. Be brave enough to see through that, to sit with yourself and allow thoughts and the story to rise and see, like, okay, this is dangerous, or this is so scary, or I don't like what's happening. Allow the story to come up. Why don't I like it? You know, listen to that story and then see what need is trying to fulfill it. You know, safety, if you're scared, or you are thinking that something is dangerous, you are trying to fulfill a lack of safety. I'm not safe. And like Rob said, I'm here and the world is coming to get me. The world is trying to do something to me. And that's really common thought, but see the feeling and allow it to rise. And you know what? The body is shaking, and I'm nervous, and I have all this energy. Allow it to rise, see it, but let go of wanting to be safe or wanting someone's approval or wanting things to be your way, wanting to change things, wanting to control. Allow the thing, the circumstance, allow the person to be what they are and go and look at what you are doing, what in you is loving at that moment, and mostly you will find out ideas of I'm little and people can hurt me and you're giving your power away. And that's why you feel powerless. And that's why then you want to control some situation and change it. And then you feel more disempowered. And then you want to control more. It's like a cycle. And the only way to break it is to, okay, if the way out is through, be brave and go through the fear, go through anger, frustration, apathy, um, so that you can rise, you know? First, you have like, an example, but if I imagine that my consciousness is this wall I have behind me, and this, whatever, the one with the this one,
Nothing. That one there says nothing else
that
matters. Isn't
one,
that from
that one,
Metallica? That's Metallica,
yes.
right? Yeah. Good song.
So something about that message, imagine it's not serving me anymore. What do I have to do to take it off? I have to see where it is. I have to take it with my hands and toss it. There's no other way. It's the same with our consciousness. If my consciousness is this wall and I have been in the wall ideas of I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, or something. Oh,
You're there. Some may say from a
yeah.
non some may say from a non-duality standpoint, they might say, well, there's no the other way. They might, oh, there it is. They might say, well, from a non-duality standpoint, they might say, well, there's nobody here to do that. There's nobody here to take that picture off the wall. There's nobody
Well,
here.
that's apathy because there's someone there. You see, there's someone, there's something. Beingness is here.
Yes.
That beingness is no one separate from the world, no one separate from other people, but there is someone. There is someone that chooses. There is someone that does things. There's something in here, but that's something and that someone isn't like a person on me that's trying to whatever, you know, that sense of I of a heavy eye. That's ego. And that's like I do the dishes and I walk down the street and I'm buying, I'm saying, coming from bigness is like, yes, n- there's still eating and there's still actions and but I from this big I, it happens effortlessly, and that effortlessly means that I'm not attached to being the doer. I can do it and I cannot do it. I can choose if I do or I don't.
So is there a doer here?
It really isn't a doer. There's no doer.
Right.
Um, there, it feels more like, when I paint my nails, it feels more like, oh, I enjoy doing this. But there's no sensation of, I'm gonna do this because this and that, or, whatever.
Right.
It
Mhm.
just feels like natural, like, yeah, I'm doing the dishes, I'm painting my nails, or I'm drinking coffee.
It's like effortless, right?
Yeah, like an inspiration, you may say. Like, I feel like drinking coffee and it's okay.
Mhm.
And it's enjoyable and it's good and it's easy. Uh, and I'm drinking it, but
Mhm.
there's no sensation of I am grabbing the cup and I'm doing it and I'm, you know,
So can you tell the difference just like if it's effortless, then that's coming from your true nature, beingness. And then if there's a lot of effort or a strong I there, a personal I saying I'm doing it, then that's not coming from your true nature. Would you describe it like that? Like you feel it in your body, like a contraction
yeah,
versus an
like
openness?
attention.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. When the I comes from the ego, it's a contracted thing, but it's like a pressure. I have to do this. I must do this. I should be doing this. Mm, I'm going to do this because it's good or because it's what's expected. And that's ego talking and moving versus beingness is more like, yeah, I'm here. And right now I feel like talking, or right now I feel like I want to eat something, or right now I feel like something, or not feel like something, like, do I want a cake right now? No, I don't want to eat cake. But it's like, no, and there's no stickiness or this energy of, oh, I need the cake, um, or I don't want the cake, I really don't. I don't know if I'm being clear.
You are being very clear. You're very
I'm trying
talented
to
at being
describe
expressive and explaining. You're a good communicator, and the way that you express is lovely.
thank you.
Maybe say something about free will.
Very well. Oh, that's very interesting. Yes, free will exists. You are free when you are coming from beingness. When you are not free, when the mind starts talking and battling, and it's like, this is bad, this is good. Oh, can you see that? Oh, this person said this to me, and that means that, whatever implications that may be, and be because of that, because you're attaching that meaning and judging. It's just a learned behavior. It's a learned conditioning where you have said to your mind, like you put that indication as a programming, you said to the mind, you know what? When someone says that I'm too thin, that someone doesn't love me, for example, been there. And the other person isn't saying that. You don't know what the intention of the other person is. You don't know anything. You are only experiencing at that moment whatever your mind is telling you, and because they say I'm thin, therefore, um, they must sing la la la, and then ta ta ta, and all that thing makes quote unquote makes you because it doesn't make you. You just agree to, but then you have a conclusion, and that conclusion it's like now I'm going to wherever, and that's not freedom because you are not that free will. You are not really choosing. You are allowing the programming to do the choosing for you, and at the end, it's like when you have an app on your phone. And at the end, it says, do you really agree to this? And you say, yes. You say yes when you say, yes, I'm going to say this and that when this happens, you know? And you have all these, yes, I have it, I thought it, and I figured it out, or, whatever. But that's not very well because you're putting in someone a past experience. And a past conditioning or whatever you think you learn from another person. So you're not seeing the person as they are, and you're not seeing the circumstance as they are. You are not being free. You are bounded by your conditioning. And you say, yes, I agree to that. I consent to that again. Yes, yes, yes. And freedom is about, in that instance, to say no. You know what? If all this non-duality talk, if all this saying about love is true, maybe this thing that the mind is saying, maybe it isn't. And start using discernment to rip off, to let go of all that conditioning. And as you go into that and you start looking to all the stories, you can see like, oh, the mind is always telling me all these kinds of stories, scary stories, really, really scary stories. And the body is in fear suddenly, but it's just in here. Right now, it's just happening in here. I'm not sure. And we all have been in that place where time passes and you speak with someone, and suddenly you realize that whatever they did, whatever they say, wasn't what your mind was telling you at that moment. You know, Michael Singer, yeah, he says something like that in Tether Soul. It's a book. And he says something like that, like we live with a very a crazy person in here, and that roommate is the word he uses. That roommate is just telling you lies always about people and about things, about situations. But the thing isn't to try and get away from it, but to be loving to yourself because you chose that programming at some point, and that programming helped you to be alive right now, wherever you are. Whenever you hear this conversation, that programming helped you to be here. That programming helped you to survive and to be alive. That's why you put it in there. Now it's time to choose. Do you want freedom or do you want to be bounded by it? Do you want to be free to choose a life that is fulfilling to you? Or do you want to keep living the same thing over and over again? Even if you right now feel like that conditioning is so stick to your consciousness that it's so hard to let go, that how are you going to let go? Just by being open, just by being open to see it, to be aware of it, to be willing to jump, that jump of faith, just to be willing. I'm not asking you to jump. I'm just saying, just be willing. A bit of stickiness goes away. Just a bit.
What would
And
you
maybe
say
next,
about suffering? A lot of people say we're talking about love here, but some people are saying, well, there's suffering in the world. How can we be talking about love? How does that fit in?
we must look at what suffering truly is. And what is suffering? Suffering is wanting things to change because they are bad, and there's a lot of suffering. Suffering is when you don't accept things as they are. Suffering is imagining things to be other than they are. Suffering is not being loving, because happiness, true happiness, the happiness that stays, the happiness that we all feel, that we all are, is here, is stable, is firm. It doesn't go away. But to access that happiness, it's like imagine you have your bedroom full of things, and even the floor is full of clothes and towels. Whatever. Suffering is trying to touch the floor, but never getting to the floor because there are a lot of things in the floor, and complaining about those things and wishing them away. But happiness is being loving. It's knowing that if you are on that place, it's knowing that the floor is there. And the floor, meaning you, the true you, the shining you, is there in the background at all times. It is there. In order to go in there, it's like you have to let go. Suffering is attaching to things and trying to hold and grasp everything and anything because you think you may need it. And that's suffering because you're wasting energy. Like your consciousness, your beingness is full of energy and it's so abundant that it never runs out. But when you're trying to grasp and take and grab and hold, and because I need to protect myself because the world is whatever it is, and that's just a waste of energy. And you may see how uh, drained you may feel sometimes. That's suffering,
Mhm.
And to get to the other side, it may feel at first like, okay, I'm going to have faith that they are saying the truth because somebody minds haven't um, being relaxed enough in their attention because it's not something you get, it's something you see when your attention isn't like this, like a horse. Is you see your true self when your attention do uh, like relaxes and does, yeah. I don't know how to explain it
Yeah,
in any other
you're doing great. You're
way.
doing great.
So when you're fixed in something and your attention is here, uh, because this is what you have said is true, just listen a little bit. Be patient with yourself. Know that your true self is the one that's watching your attention being focused and kind of restrained or kind of limited. And think of think of it as kind of walls, limits that you put on yourself that you can slowly fade away. But you can only fade away by releasing, by being loving and this attitude of loving. You don't need to feel the physical love to be loving because some people like relate love with the feeling. And if I don't have the feeling of love, uh, then whatever. But at first, when you are letting go and you are seeing your fears, your insecurities, it won't feel like I'm in bliss. It won't. It will feel like, oh, I'm scared of this. And it feels so scary. What is loving is the attitude you give to yourself, the care you give to yourself, and the embrace you give to yourself, the understanding, okay, I put it in here. And because I put it in here, I can take it out and I can let it go. And love is to be brave, to see it, to be brave, to allow the world to burn, to explode, because sometimes we don't let go because what if this happens or what if that happens or this thing that is so, 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 so bad, is so scary that no. And instead of no, say, okay, yes, I'm here, I'm alone, I'm at home, I can be brave to see it, you know, and let go, even if it's a little bit. Maybe next time you can let go of a little bit more, but it's more about the attitude and embrace and that, yeah, like I hold myself. And even if that I hold myself looks like I can only hold myself and I'm going to let myself cry all night, maybe that's what's needed at that moment in that body mind. And it's okay. That's the thing about love, that it's so accepting that it's like, it's okay. It's okay. I can do it. I can be here. I can be loving and healing for what is experienced as healing. It's like peeling off ego and conditioning. And yes, because you're peeling off and it was a stick, no, like pasted. I- Imagine you have something, a sticker on your skin, and it's like, I don't need this anymore. If I want to be loved and being judgmental isn't loving, I'm going to tear it off. And it will hurt at first, and maybe you need to put some cream or some warm water or, whatever. It's just a metaphor. But you'll be amazed at how fast it will hit, like really fast. Because when you take care of it and clean it and look lovingly, you know, to heal is to look with love, to touch with love. It suddenly it's like, oh, there's no wound, and there's no even a mark that
Ah,
wound was there,
yeah, that's great.
you know? So
That's
love
beautiful.
is like the magic potion we all need,
I
but
love
not
that.
not from the outside. Love isn't something I need to get from the outside. Love is what I am, and love is what I need to be giving to myself. Love is what I need to be giving to the world. And it isn't about romance or pinky stuff. It's, because some people romanticize so much love that it looks like something impossible. It's more about this attitude of, like imagine your grandma holding you lovingly,
Oh,
but now it isn't your grandma. It is you who are doing that to yourself,
beautiful.
with yourself, and for people, plants, the world, you
That's
know.
so beautiful how you express that. I could really feel the love coming through on this side. It's just really beautiful. What do you say to people? How they say God is love? What comes to your mind? God is love. Want to say something?
Yes, God is love. It's partly something I say to myself. It's like when conditioning comes through and it seems difficult, something that I say to myself, it's like, you know what? I want to love like God loves. And that love is pure, it's unconditional. It doesn't ask for anything because God doesn't ask us for anything to fulfill Him. Even in religion, it is bad explained, like the Ten Commandments, they are to please God. I have to please God. No, that's not true. The commandments aren't there for people to please God and make Him happy. Uh, Rules are there for you to be close to God, not because there's no other way, because, the commandments honor your father. and your mother, when you love your parents as they are, you are being loving. And because you are being loving, you are close to God, meaning you are true to yourself. You are being authentic. You are being the love that you are, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
So, yes, love, God is love, and something that may help or it helps me is to remember to be aware like this is not how God loves. And I choose to love like he does. So I'm gonna be loving,
Are you separate
and
from
whatever.
are you separate
Uh,
from God?
no. No, no one is. No one is. Like God is your true nature. God is you. God is what's looking through your eyes. God is what's listening in you. You are listening. And the one that is aware of listening, the one that is aware that listening is happening, that is God. And it's the same that is in here and that is everywhere. Like we are all within God, not God within us. Because in religious things or circles, it's like, I have the spark of God within me. No, you are within God. God is all that is. You know, there's no separation. God in, or at least in the Abrahamic religions, it's like he's indivisible. Yeah, it's indivisible. It's everywhere. It's omnipotent. It's omnipresent. But look at it this way. If God is omnipresent, it's everywhere, it's everything all at once, then who I am, what's left of me, you know? And what you'll find out is that there was never a me separate from him. It was just God pretending to be limited, God playing with this form, with this conditioning, with this body mind. And when you are awake, it's like, boom, you kind of go back and feel more alive and more joyful. And then you can choose. And you are aware of being God, the source of love, the source of light, because love is light, and then you act accordingly. I am the source of love. And because I am the source of love, I don't need it from someone seemingly outside of me,
Mm.
seemingly, because there's no outside. Like the inside is the same as the outside. There's no separation. You see, it's indivisible. It's all one. It's all, you may say, interconnected,
Yes.
always, at all times. Um, it's all already united because there's only God, there's only Him, there's only love, there's only truth with capital T and love with capital T. F. Yeah. You know, that
Beautiful.
big love, that big bigness that envelops you. It's already enveloping you. It's already here. Like you don't have to pray to someone you don't know where, or like in law of attraction, like, please, universe, I want this or that. And you're praying to seemingly someone outside, expecting to expecting them or something to give something to you, you know?
Yeah.
Uh there that's separation. That's saying like lack because I don't have, I ask. Um it's more of, okay, if I am source, I am the source of love. I am the source of whatever's happening in my life. I must be responsible for my life, for my attitude, for my presence, for the things I choose or not choose. And I think that's where I get a little bit separated from the non-dual speakers because they are like, or a lot of them are like, well, choosing is just happening. Well, things are just happening. Well, spirit is just, well, they don't say spirit, but consciousness is just, and yes and no, because when you are aware and you are truly seated in your power, in your true self, in being loving, then you are free to choose and move and be responsible. Because when you take accountability for your actions, when you take accountability for what you do or what you don't do, what you say or you don't say, then you are really in your power. And then you can really choose because that's really important. It's really important to take accountability, be responsible, because otherwise you will always be the victim. Things are happening to me. But now, if I take responsibility and I realize that this thing that is happening is because I chose it, because of some conditioning I am still feeling, now I am in my power to choose again, to let it go and choose something different.
Perfect.
And then, because I am getting responsible of my actions, my energy, my body, my mind, then it's easy to flow into the creation mode,
Yes.
as if it were a mode that you put on, and then you can choose to create something, to build something, and that is effortless. Like it's so natural for you and for everyone to build, to construct, to contribute, to make this world a better place, to because that's you. That's God talking through you. God is speaking as you. When you create love, when you give love, you are being God, spirit. And when you take responsibility for your actions, when you take responsibility for your conditioning and you do something about it, then you open up like more power. I don't know, because you begin to be aware of more things, you know?
Right.
Like sometimes, yesterday, I was at home and suddenly I was looking at watching TV and suddenly I realized that I was hearing something and I paused the TV and the sound was still there. And I was like, wow, I'm so happy to enjoy a little sound that before awakening I would have listened to, you know? And that's not like I'm talking about psychic powers or something. It's just that your consciousness, your awareness gets so much bigger and it's able to hold more of life than you are aware of more things. You
That's
know,
beautiful.
like Pearl Jam has a song that's called Corduroy, and I have listened to it I don't know how many times. And one day I discovered that at the end of the song, Eddie Vedder is singing something so with such a smooth and low tone voice that I wasn't perceiving before, but it has always been there. And that's something that happens with your awakening. When because you go through your fears
Right.
and you free yourself, then you become aware of things that have always been here. Yeah.
That's great. We're gonna end it right here only because I gotta get on another call. But this has been a beautiful interview. I love the way you express yourself and all about love. You're the embodiment of love, and I really felt that on the call today.
Thank
What a
you.
beautiful being you are. You are love.
Thank you.
Thank you.